All right, good morning, everybody. It is Tuesday morning. Hope you guys are having a great start to your week. This is a Training Tuesday, fairly short one today, unless we get a lot of questions, which is always, we always want a lot of those questions for these Tuesday trainings. We're going to talk about the monthly bid buy training that we have going, marking documents confidential, multiple POs for the same items, one vendor, and just going to talk a little bit about stringing and how we want to stay away from that. And then next week, hopefully, we're going to have an update on a second bid buy training, depending on room availability and the rebid process. So first off, for those of you that are new to these calls, my name is Dave Luttrell. I'm Procurement Training Manager for the CPOGS. And so we'll be doing these every Tuesday. They're intended to be very short, provide you with information that you need to do your job, as well as provide just updates in general. So we have a monthly bid buy training series that's going to be coming out. So woohoo, woohoo. We're really excited about that. So the first one is going to be Wednesday, November 13th, 10 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. I've been working back and forth on trying to find availability for a second date just because I expect there'll be some demand for this. And these are really going to be intended for those that are new to bid buy. We'll be covering everything just really in one day. I know for many of you that we have done in past trainings, we've done multiple days. We've done real deep dives into specific procurement methods and different functionalities within the system. This is going to be a little different. This is going to be a little bit more of a higher overview, how the system works, general navigation, what all the buttons do, and then we'll work through releases off of master contracts, small purchases, just that general workflow in bid buy, so that once you gain access to the system, etc., you can go out and because at the end of the day, you really have requisition, bid stage, and the PO stage. Now, there's going to be a lot of different things that occur if you're doing an IFB versus an RFP, or if you're doing a small purchase versus a sole source, etc. So a lot of those, it will be slightly different in that we're not going to do that big deep dive. We'll talk about more of the general workflow, and then for any of those procurement methods that aren't as common, if you want specific training on that, then at that point we can engage and have more of those specific trainings for those. So it's going to be at the CDB Computer Lab at the Stratton Building in Springfield, on the third floor of the Stratton Building. We'll provide additional information as we get closer. Like I said, it's going to be perfect for those that are new to bid buy, because we're going to give them that broad overview. And as we move through, we want to be able to have. I was hoping to be able to say it would be the second Wednesday of every month or something like that, but just due to the availability of the rooms, we won't be able to do that, or we haven't been able to do that just yet. Once we can get this thing kicked off and rolling, perhaps in the future, we could have a more standing, consistent date. So that's what I'm hoping for. So it's going to be perfect for those new to bid buy. Certainly on the front end at the very beginning, if you're new, that's really going to be needed. However, once we get things going, and if we are able to do this more often, perhaps those that need a refresher would be perfect for them as well. I have my email down here. Now, just due to the the size of that computer lab, for this first November training, it is space is going to be very limited. So we'll do our best to accommodate those that would like the training. And like I said, I'm going to be looking into trying to do another one in November as well. I'm just working back and forth on availability for a room. Okay, so our next thing is going to be just a reminder to be marking those documents confidential. So quotes, bid tab documents need to be appropriately marked confidential. Here's a screenshot of one that was sent to me. Let me go back. And to protect the innocent, we've taken away any of the names or that sort of stuff. So when you go to the bid tab, you can see these documents, these three documents right here. One right there, one right there, one right there. They should have been marked confidential, because they, those forms A, there's information in those documents that are not to be able to show to the public. So, when you're putting in quotes on behalf of a vendor, always be sure to check that confidential box, because that's really, really important. That's a piece that, SPOs will push back for that. So you want to be able to get back and make sure that's all selected on the front end, so it keeps the procurement moving along. Similarly to those bid tab documents. Okay. Stringing. So another thing about BidBuy, the great thing about BidBuy is that it's transparent. And so what that means is we really need to be on our A game when it comes to checking those boxes of what needs to be showed in the public, what's confidential, etc. But also not just in a BidBuy aspect, but from a purely procurement law aspect is having same POs that go to the same vendor for the same product a couple days apart. Now, in the cases that I've anecdotally seen, it's not necessarily avoiding a competitive procedure, but in the case that I saw, it would have put it over a threshold that would have needed to go to an SPO. So if it was less than $10,000, for instance, a couple of those same things that were within a couple of days of each other for the same thing or very similar products, then we just don't want to get in a situation where we are stringing. So I figured it would be appropriate just for those of you that may have not even ever heard that term, or for those of you that understand what it is, just as a refresher. So stringing is dividing or planning procurements to avoid the use of competitive procedures. That's strictly prohibited. Now, periodic purchases of similar supplies from several different vendors to maintain inventory is not stringing, unless the purchases are planned to avoid the use of competitive procedures. So what that means is, that's a little bit of procurement speak. So a lot of times what we want to talk about on these Tuesdays is, okay, what does that really mean? What that means is competitive procedures are those that, according to code, are over that $100,000 mark or $101,800. So you're into the invitation for bid, IFB, RFP. Now, like I said, in the instances that I've seen, the very few that I've seen, to be honest, if you added up the procurements, it would have changed the actual approval paths, meaning that it wouldn't have to go to that SPO. So if there's any questions about that, please let me know. If there are any questions, regarding stringing, talk to your SPO, talk to your APO, and that stringing really is a big deal, and we want to avoid that like the plague. We have. Oh, can you repeat what you said? The sound cut out. I'm cutting in and out. Uh-oh. That's not good. I'm not sure. I apologize if I'm cutting in and out. I don't think I have everything is in here working the right way, but if it continues to happen, please let me know and I'll send out something that's a little bit more in writing, I guess. But just repeating in terms of the stringing is, don't divide or, plan those procurements to avoid a competitive procedure. So over $100,000. Don't do multiple small purchases for, within a short period of time, so you don't have to go out to do an IFB, for instance. That's a very, very, very big no-no. So here's just for those of you that are new, the slide that's been on the last few weeks, just what we're going to talk about on Tuesdays. CPO notices, CPO memos, any new forms and processes, in BidBuy training, and then specific procurement training. So next week, and here's my address on there, but next week we're going to talk about, hopefully I have an update for you for a second BidBuy training, and then we're going to talk about the rebid process too within BidBuy. So what do you need to do if you have to go out for a rebid? You don't need to necessarily start from scratch. There's some cloning that's involved within BidBuy, as well as when you are letting vendors know that this procurement is canceled. However, you're not technically pressing the cancel button. I know that can be confusing, so we're going to talk about that next week. Once again, I'm going to leave my email there. If you're interested in doing training for that November 13th BidBuy training, and it's going to be very specific to BidBuy. So if you have other trainings that you would like to have, please contact me, your agency. We can talk with your SPO, your APO, and I can come out and we can do some specific training, whether it's specifically procurement related or something specific in BidBuy. we'll be able to take care of you there. But let me know, because if this room fills up quickly, like I think it will, probably this first time, just know that I'll put you on the list for the next month. We'll try to get some more dates and kind of get caught back up on some training for you guys. So do we have any questions today? I know today was a pretty short one, but like I said, we want to keep these fairly short and to the point, and that way you can go out and do your good work. Okay, let's see. We have a couple questions here. And please email me here, just in case if you send me a message via the chat box and it doesn't actually, I don't actually get it in there, just email me so I make sure that we can do that. Let's see. Will the training be available via WebEx for those out of town? Currently, no, but I can reach out to you specifically and see what we can do for those that are out of town. Currently, it's just going to be in Springfield, and if there are issues with travel, those sorts of things, let's maybe take that offline and just talk individually about that. This is perfect. Okay, from our systems manager, talking about the Downfresh from Periscope. So the train environment is now that we've done some updates to the training environment. So if you haven't been into the training environment for a while, please go back in and register, or not register, using the credentials. So the production environment that you have now, you would be able to use the same user ID and password that they were in production last Thursday. So whatever your login and password was as of last Thursday, you can use that to go into the training environment. So, we suggest logging into the training environment today and update your password if you like. Also, you can always contact the help desk with any questions. So thank you, Randy, for that. I appreciate that. As we've changed the production environment, the training environment has not been updated. And so now when you go into the training environment, certainly for those of you that are new and you want to kind of go play around a little bit, it's going to specifically mirror the production environment, the real world. So great. All right. Seeing no other questions, I'm going to go ahead and how do we sign up for BidBuy training? So please just email me. My email here is david.luttrell@illinois.gov. Email me and I'll be able to manage the list and confirm your seats there. And like I said, if it fills up fast, like I think it will, I'm working on multiple trainings to be able to help everybody out. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and end the call. Oh, sorry, I have a question, and I emailed you as well. If show vendor and confidential are both not checked, does it still get seen by the public? Yes, so show vendor means showing that vendor specifically. So for instance, if show to vendor and confidential are checked, that vendor can see it, but the public cannot. However, if you do not click confidential, anything that could potentially be seen by the public, now they would have to know how to get in there, but those vendors know how the system is working, so they could go in and see those documents. Okay, and I'll be certain to cover that very specifically in the training, and that's probably something that you guys will hear me say a few more times, just because it is so important that we have those documents being marked confidential. Okay. All right, everybody have a great day. Go forth, do good work, make the state a better place. Thank you.